Alright, hey, hi, hello. How's it going, guys? My name is ZetaRayZod, and welcome back to more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Now, before I begin, be sure to like, subscribe, and get the bell line to stay up to date on all my latest videos. So, last we left off, we almost had Graydon cornered into like a treason charge, because he was I think he was stealing government secrets, but he kind of turned it around and declared himself a key witness, which technically he was. And he kind of pointed the finger at Gina. So now the whole jury is kind of against us. They've all voted guilty. And it turns out the policeman that showed up to hand over some evidence, I think it was it the music box? Or was it something else? No. He showed up as a police officer, under the guise of the police officers, in terms of the report on whether there's blood on Gina's jacket. And as we know, it does have blood on it, but it was from the murder 2 months ago by the Mr. Mason. So yeah, so now he's here, and I think he has a key piece of evidence for us, and let's go. I think it's good to know that this might actually be the last episode of this part, the pre-sequel of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. So let's go. My dear fellow, I apologize for my tardy arrival. Mr. Sholmes, you right now? Alright, I'm all wrong. Sorry. I've only just managed to summon the strength to stand, man. I've asked the judge for 5 minutes. But I fear even that may prove too much for me. Pray forgive me should I pass out. Let's make the discussion as short as possible. Currently, this place is full of idiots. None of them can see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is. Ah well, that concoction of mine was really just a bit of sport to assist me in my investigations. I never took the trouble to refine it for appraisal by the scientific community, and oversight on my part. Right, modesty? Surely not. But enough of that. I'm here to give you this, my dear fellow. This looks like Susato-san stuff. What's that? A lavender furoshiki? A leaving present from Miss Susato. From Miss Susato? If possible, matters were to be settled without me giving you this. Those were her instructions when she asked me to do her this favor. I don't understand. Mrs. Sato foresaw today's events, I believe. She knew that the culprit would attempt to escape justice by means both devious and underhand. And that you, Mrs. Naruhodo, fighting fairly as you are want to do, will find yourself in considerable peril. At that very moment of crisis, you were to be given this small parcel. Those were the dear lady's instructions. A leaving presents from Susato-san? Whatever could it be? What is that? Oh, that's the cat door maker. What is this? Oh, it's the machine I need. Wow. Yeah, it makes that cat door. Look, I used this. It's my latest invention. What is that? I call it the cat flap-o-mat. I can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Waggy in seconds. What's Susie up to? What is she up to? Mr. Sato muttered the following words before she left. I'm a failure. I don't deserve to be a judicial assistant. What? Didn't she say something like that? You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. Huh. What does she mean by that, Mr. Sholmes? That night when you left Winniebanks in pursuit of the thieves, Mrs. Sato made use of this contraption for a certain purpose. That is your answer, my dear fellow. Not at all cryptic, then. Sato-san used this cat flap-o-mat that night. Why? Did she hide something? Did she hide something in the floors or something? Your 5 minutes is over. Ran out of time already? Okay. I gots to think about this. I'm grateful to you for affording us that brief recess, Mr. Reaper. I need no thanks, Detective. After all, the die is cast. Is it really? The jurors are unanimous in their leadings. No doubt my learned friend will consider a summation examination. But any attempt to alter the verdict now will be utterly futile. I wonder. Listen, Mr. Naruto. Yes? The rest is down to you, dear fellow. What is your plan? The rest is down to me? I need to be careful here. If I make a wrong move, the trial will end badly. My lord, the defense requests... Oh god, come on. Can't find anything out of place. Whew, those vicious teeth look like they can rip through almost anything. They're good, aren't they? They're made of a special alloy developed just for this job. The cutter rotates 10 times per second, so you can get through any kind of door in no time at all. And what are the two parts at the top there? Oh, those are for attaching hinges to the section of a door that gets cut out. Right, of course. Nothing can match this machine for power. It can make mincemeat of even the toughest of doors. It sounds so charming and friendly when you see what it's for, but... it feels like the reality of the cat flapper man is that it's a grim weapon of door destruction. My guy's so adorable. There's nothing I wouldn't do for him, even developing deadly weapons. That's every cat owner. This, you know, you put this in someone's chest, that's the end of them. You can make a hinge. Oh no, that was dark. Oh no, goddamn, I don't know. Oh god, I don't know. I would think a summation examination makes more sense, right? Now it's come to this, my only chance is to appeal to jurors and try to change their minds. What do you think you're doing, Miss Naruto? I guess not. I guess it's the wrong one. What of Mrs. Satsu's gracious gesture? Would you let this final piece of evidence she left you go to waste? Final piece of... This is not a time for inaction. This is time to hear from a witness. But it's not possible for me to bring a new witness to stand at this point. I don't think that's what it really means, Bruno. Have you forgotten where we are in the trial? Oh, I guess we're doing cross-examination. If the defense has nothing more to add, I think we should proceed to the adjudication. Wait, my lord, the defense requests further cross-examination. At least the game is like, okay, see what happens. They kind of like, you're going the wrong way, it's this way. The jurors have spoken. Protocol dictates that you may not cross-examine a new witness. The defense is not asking for the cross-examination of a new witness. Rather, to continue with one of an existing witness. What? It would appear that a rather important detail has escaped your attention, Mr. Reaper. What is that detail? My lord. Oh. Requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination. Thank you, officer. Very well. The cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel? No, my lord. Aha! So nobody can see anything then. Bruno asks to resume his cross-examination of Mr. Graydon. The court is obliged to allow it. This is absurd. Heart attack. I will remind those present that this is my caution. I concur that the defense is entirely within its rights to request the continuation of the cross-examination. However, I will not permit an unremitting protraction of these proceedings. Therefore, I have decided to afford the defense one final opportunity in concluding the cross-examination. Counsel, you must choose but one statement from the witness's testimony and but one piece of evidence to present in support of your argument against it. Single chance to present evidence. If, following that, the situation remains unchanged, I shall move to adjudication. Is that clear, counsels? You will not press the witness any further. Oh shit, no pressing? My lord. Yes, my lord. A single statement and a single piece of evidence. Most generous. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's high time I fell in the dead fate. I leave this in your capable hands. It just goes down waving. Mr. Sholmes! It just goes down waving. To stand so insouciantly? I've never seen this word before. Insouciantly. Before the court in a state of such high fever, either the man has extraordinary strength of mind or an extraordinary lack of feeling. Both. I imagine he's feeling very little now. The detective is sleeping soundly in one of the antechambers. Strike a man when he's down, why don't you? Well then, counsel, are you fully prepared? Yes. One statement, one piece of evidence. I'm assuming the evidence is the gun. I won't let Mr. Sholmes down, or Iris. Or Mr. Sato. And I won't waste this final chance as Sato-san has given me. This is going to decide the entire outcome of the trial. Very well then. Under the terms I've outlined, you may resume the cross-examination. Here we go. Just one more, right? Is it this one? I'm assuming it has to be this, right? Small flaps and larger doors allow cats to come and go through. I don't know. I don't freaking know. Shot the man in the back as he's trying to flee safety. Shoot the man when he jumps out the storeroom. You see 30 people in the door though. I don't know. I really don't know what the connection is. Is it, I 4 tries. Let's go. Is it this one? Is it? What on earth is that eccentric contraption, counsel? Oh, it's my cat flapper-mat, my lord. It makes a way for cats to get in and out of a room. I can cut through any door you can think of, and make a new little door in the middle of it. That's right, my lord. It's a device for creating so-called cat flaps. Small doors for cats to come and go as they please, without their owners having to open the main door. I'm sure we can all work that out for ourselves. But that cat lover's contrivance has no possible relevance to this case. Oh, really? Of course it doesn't. To start with, there was no cat flap in the pawnbroker's door. Not being a keeper of cats myself, I'm afraid I fail to see what this has to do with the matter at hand. Perhaps it would help if I described its function another way then. This contraption is able to create a peephole in any door you can imagine in practically no time at all. Hi, I beg your pardon. A peephole, you say? 2 nights ago, we arrived at the scene only minutes after the murder of Mr. Winbank had taken place. Yeah, that's right. According to the paperwork at the yard, it was you, your Japanese assistant, and Sholmes. Yeah, 3 of us were together, and it's recently come to my attention that my assistant made use of this device at the time. Your assistant did what? There's a peephole in the storeroom door. I can attest to that. Because I looked through the peephole myself in order to see inside the locked storeroom. It's ludicrous, what are you trying to say? Of course there was a peephole in the door. I said as much in my testimony. How else could I have witnessed a crime, for pity's sake? Yeah, how could you? What do you mean? What? Counsel? Kindly say what you mean. Alright, it's time. Time to strike the final blow. What I mean is this, my lord. My assistant made the peephole in the storeroom door, and until such time as she did, The door had no hole in it to look through. What? No! Really? I would not have suspected that at all. This is a farce. Are you really suggesting that the people the door was... Yes, it was created only after the incident had taken place by my judicial assistant using this device. Your assistant tampered with the crime scene while being fully aware of the gravity of her actions. This is a most serious act of vandalism, for which I humbly apologize, my lord. It was in the few minutes that I left the scene in order to pursue the skulking brothers and alert the police. Nevertheless, in the light of this new information, it becomes apparent that Mr. Graydon's testimony is riddled with holes. Riddled with? Explain yourself, counsel. The majority of Mr. Graydon's testimony that appears to incriminate the defendant is based upon what he witnessed through the peephole and the storeroom door. Yes, that filthy girl shooting the man in the back. However, if at the time of the incident that peephole did not yet exist in the door, there's no possible way that you could have seen what you claim to have seen. In short, your entire testimony is a pack of lies. I would not have suspected at all. Is there any credence in this revelation? Like, how was she holding that gun the whole time? Is that big? None whatsoever, as my learned friend must surely realize. Exactly, this is just a cheap trick designed to discredit me. I'm afraid not, sir. Of course it is. Do you seriously expect people to believe that plaything can cut through a solid wooden door? Oh yeah, and designed to be very powerful. It can cut through even the toughest of doors. It's absurd. I don't believe it for a second. Aha! I had a feeling you'd say that. What? Waggy! Cooey! Time for dinner. She made a hole in the... Ah, so cute. Well, young lady, this is the Old Bailey. Why does not make a cat flaps in the paneling in the Old Bailey? I'm not done yet. Don't worry. This doesn't mean that the people in the storeroom door at Winning Banks was made by your machine. And there's no way you can prove that it was. No, but it's easy. What? Cat flaps my cat flap and my grades are all of fixed size, and the dimensions of the people in Winning Banks are an exact match. Hehe, old Silky's last for words. Excellent work, Iris. Thank you. And now it's my learned student friend's turn to be lost for words, I feel. I believe your judicial assistant has already left the country for your Eastern Island home. Well, yeah, that's true. Then you may have some difficulty in establishing all of the facts. For the sake of argument, let's assume the peephole has dimensions that are a perfect fit for this contraption. In that case, when was the peephole cut? The prosecution demands proof of your answer. What is the purpose of line of inquiry, Lord Van Zieks? It's very simple, my lord. The defense argues that the peephole was created after the incident using this device. But now that the perpetrator's returned to her native land, she cannot testify to the fact. There is no proof. And for as long as the defense remains unable to prove when the peephole was made, my learned friend's claim amounts to nothing more than a baseless accusation. Do I have proof? I think I do have proof, right? Indeed, that is so, Lord Van Zieks. Well, counsel, don't give up now, Rito. This is the time to create your own opening and force your way through. I don't know if I can do this, but I do know one thing. Sato-san is the greatest judicial assistant in the world. Very well. The counsel for the defense will present evidence to support the claim made. Proof that the people in the door Windy Bank storeroom was created after the event and not before. Okay, let's look at the photos. No people? People. Should I present this? The defense believes this is all the proof that court. Oh, god damn it. The defense is extremely hopeful. Okay, god, I don't want to talk about this. Let's prove something. Come on. Sorry, of course I have to show them before, dumbass. You do. Come on, Susie, you lying business out this one. Okay, what do you mean? Well, she wouldn't have left you in the lurch, would she? You can be sure she thought of a way to prove what you're being asked to prove now. So there must be some evidence in the court record somewhere. Okay, yeah, I know what it is. To show that the people wasn't there before the incident took place. Yep. Okay, yep. So a different piece of evidence instead. Yeah, do it. Okay, it's the before. This one. What are you? A print from that detective's infernal cameras again? My judicial assistant, Mrs. Sato Mikotoba, is an extremely intelligent and capable woman, which is why I never had any cause to doubt that she would have considered this scenario and made sure I had the necessary proof. And the necessary proof is this photographic print, counsel. This print shows a scene in the shop moments after the defendant entered the premises. Agreed. And it also shows the accused mercilessly wielded a gun in the direction of the defenseless broker. But more to the point, it pictures the storeroom door in the background. Let me see that print again. I don't believe it. This really is quite remarkable. The door to the storeroom. It's completely devoid of a peephole of any description. Ugh. Mr. Graydon, you couldn't possibly have witnessed the crime as you claim to have done. Because at the time it happened, there was no peephole in the door. In other words, your testimony is a catalog of lies. Oh, what a pirouette. Aha. I'm satisfied that the defense has substantiated its claim beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness's testimony was entirely fallacious. That's not the only thing we now know beyond all reasonable doubt. My learned friend's assistant's guilt can no longer be denied. The woman tampered with a crime scene. But more importantly, good lord, there's more law advances. The defense may have established a reprehensible instance of perjury, but that is no proof that this man is the victim's killer. Yes, that's right. What? I was there at the scene. It's true. And I was shot in the arm. It's true. But that's all. Yes, in fact, if we look at the circumstances, I am the victim here. Oh, please. Why is that? He broke in, breaking and entering. I don't believe this. But they're right. As it stands now, I don't have any definitive proof that he's the culprit. Still, he can't worm his way out now. Iris? You know what they say? There's no point locking the cat's door after the cat is bolted. Isn't that right, Bruno? As Hurley always says, one lie begets another. No, wait, that might have been a line I wrote for him in one of my stories. Well, no matter who said it first, you're right. Mr. Graydon, not only did you give false testimony to the court, but the lies you told makes no sense. Make no sense. Make no sense. What do you mean by such a remark? What you said in your testimony reveals that you know something you shouldn't have known. In other words, there's a fundamental inconsistency in your statements. What? This is provocative talk, counsel. Would you enlighten the court? Explain this alleged inconsistency. Iris was right. One lie begets another. The inconsistencies revealed by the lies in the witnesses' statements. They show that Mr. Graydon has knowledge of something he shouldn't have known anything about. Namely, the blitzes on the coat. Right? The bloodstains that were present on Miss Lestrade's coat. That's right. The victim's blood spattered all over her when she shot him. But how could she possibly have known that? Obviously, because I saw her do it through the peephole in the... The point is not that you lied in your testimony, Mr. Graydon. It's the nature of the lie you concocted that is so revealing. You're not making any sense. Then let me ask you a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you knew of the existence of the peephole in the storeroom door? What? Well, obviously Has the cat got your tongue, witness? The peephole in the door was made after the incident occurred. And once I returned to the shop having failed to catch the two burglars, Scotland Yard's investigators arrived immediately. Since that time, the police have been at Winniebanks constantly carrying out their investigation. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Well, yeah, of course. The place is chock full of pawn articles, and my lads have to go as to thoroughly examine them all. So I gave the order to have officers working around the clock in shifts so we get through it all. And consequently, there's no way that you, Mr. Graydon, could have gained access to the shop. Therefore, you should have known nothing about the people in the storeroom door. So the fact that its existence forms the basis of your testimony is completely inexplicable. And yet, the fact remains that Mr. Graydon did maintain that he witnessed the crime take place through the peephole in the door. How enough is that possible? Could I have a word, please, Lord Van Zeeks? Speak, Inspector. It's just that I really ought to be getting back to the station now and putting my report. There's really nothing more I can add to this testimony, so it's all the same to you. Permission denied. Oh. It's not all the same to me, Inspector. Not at all. You will remain exactly where you are until this trial concludes. Of course, sir. Mr. Graydon. You shouldn't have known about the existence of that people. Which can only mean that you must have been informed about it by somebody else. Oh, Gregson told him about it. Ugh. Gregson, what'd you do that? Stop there, my learned friend. You realize, I trust, that the words you just uttered have extremely serious implications. Yes. The defense believes that the details about the case that Mr. Graydon claims to have seen must have been revealed to him by a certain person before his testimony. And, in fact, considering a particular clue we have, there's really only one person that can be. Who is the person in question, counsel? Who gave this witness details of the crime scene to facilitate his false testimony? It's gotta be Gregson. The truth is, it can only have been you, Inspector Gregson. Hey, me! You had better have some proof to substantiate such a rash claim, my learned friend. Consider the fact that we have only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours. We learned of it only during the course of the trial today. Indeed, preparations for his testimony were made with great urgency during our hour-long recess, while the police executed a subpoena and brought the man here from the communications station. And until that time, Mr. Graydon would have had no idea. No inkling that he would suddenly be required to appear in court. Are you suggesting that until such time as he was summoned? Yep, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume he knew nothing of the peephole. It was only once Mr. Graydon was in the stand that he realized his position, that he would have to defend himself against the accusation that he was the third intruder. He suggested to the court that it was while this trial was in progress that he received the information, so that he could commit perjury in order to save his skin. Exactly. And the only person in knowledge of the investigation that he had any contact with is you, Inspector Gregson. This is a bloomin' outrage. Why would I be giving away details about investigations to this fella, huh? I was summoned to his lordship's chambers during the recess in any case. Have you forgotten that? Quite true. I had a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at the pawnbrokery. Which means the first time these two laid eyes on one another was after proceedings resumed following the recess. Since then, they've been in full view in the stand, where such illicit discussions couldn't possibly have occurred. It did! It did! Ooh, I've just remembered something, Rita. Well, what is it, Iris? There was one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Jeannie was testifying. Oh yeah, now you mention it. When the bailiff was dispatched to retrieve McGillicud's music box from the scene of the crime. That's it! It was during the testimony. Yeah, they were whispering to each other. I remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Graydon and the Inspector seemed to be having some kind of secret discussion. It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Graydon the information he needed then. You little toe rag, you're making all this up. I'm a respectable Scotland Yard inspector, for crying out loud. Why would I do something like that? Why would I be giving away confidential details to the likes of this bloke? Admittedly, he wouldn't have had any reason to do something like that for no gain. But perhaps it was part of a deal of some kind. Then it starts to make more sense. What deal, counsel? I wondered perhaps in exchange for details about the people at the crime scene, Mr. Graydon agreed to give a certain something to the inspector. Oops. Oh, the disc? I'm sure I need not remind the inspector that if found to be true, striking a deal with any kind of any witness would be considered a gross case of malfeasance. Well, It's becoming clear that jumping in with accusation is this Nipponese student's specialty. I don't do that. But with the stakes so high, the prosecution is not prepared to listen to baseless charges. It is incumbent on the defense now to present evidence in support of his diabolical claim. Evidence? Just what are you proposing that the inspector demanded of the witness in return? The court must see proof of this alleged deal. It's gotta be the second disc. If Inspector Gregson really did strike a deal with Mr. Graydon, then logically there's only one thing that he could have asked for. That must be it. Bruno, do you think it could be? Yeah. It's the missing link that would join all the dots together in this puzzle. I must press you for an answer now, counsel. What evidence explains the nature of this alleged deal that Inspector Gregson made with the witness? I don't know. Is it a music box? Is it a disc? It's the disc. Inspector Gregson, besides this murder, is it not true that you've been working on another very important case? What are you getting at now, Sunshine? Is it possible that this other top secret case is what's alluded to in this newspaper article here? The classified secrets being leaked overseas from the Ministry of Justice. Now, how the bleeding Nora could you? We discovered during the course of this trial the music box deposited at Wayne Banks by Magnus McGilden. A special music box designed to play 2 discs at once. It would seem very likely now that encoded on the pair of discs that were in McGilden's possession are the leaked classified secrets. So I put it to you, Inspector, then order to recover the second of the discs containing those secrets. You covertly made a deal with Mr. Graydon in which you exchanged the disc for details of the case. You little... Ah! These fries are gone. On the day of the incident, when we met you at Winnie Banks, you said this. I'll be taking that whatever it is of McGillis down the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. No, don't give it to him. That's mine, that is. Mine. Sorry, miss. But anything belonging to McGillis has to be taken in as evidence now. Scotland Yard already knew at the time, isn't that right? And that Magnus McGilden was involved in stealing your government secrets. My orders were, recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT, strictly hush-hush. And that explains why, when I presented this disc as evidence to the court, you objected so heavily, I presume. Because you knew that it contained highly confidential information. Blimey, not likely. I mean, I wasn't that sure of it myself. I realized there was a possibility, that's all. Inspector, surely you're not saying that in order to acquire the second of those music box discs, you did indeed reveal confidential details of the crime scene to the witness. To aid and abet this man in giving false testimony. There's no other way that Mr. Graydon could have known of the existence of the people. It's the only explanation. A deal was struck between these two men. No! If, and I stress if, this sobering assertion turns out to be founded in truth, it would mean that the second disc is, as we speak, here in this very courtroom. Wait, what? In this room? How could you possibly make a claim like that? Because Inspector Gregson is a Scotland Yard detective. What? What's that supposed to mean, eh? As a seasoned policeman, the inspector will have approached his alleged deal with caution. Certainly he would not have accepted a gentleman's agreement in this matter. No, he would have insisted on having the article agreed upon in the palm of his hand. Good gracious, then. You mean to say, Inspector Gregson already has the item in question in his possession? He has the second disc actually on his person? The defense demands that the inspector is searched at once. Definitely. They could only have struck a deal with each other when Ginny was testifying before. And Gregson hasn't moved from the witness stand since. My lord, please, order an examination of his personal effects immediately. Well, Inspector? This young lad wants to tone down his imagination. He's insulted me in my profession quite enough. However, if it'll put this matter to bed and dispel any doubts about my involvement, then I'll happily submit to body search. What? He's gonna agree to it? I presume you're aware of the precipice of which you now tether, my learned student friend. You've made a most serious allegation against Scotland Yard here. If, following the search of the inspector's personal effects, no disc is found, you will be deemed unfit for court service. This trial will end, and my country's government will formally demand of yours that you are severely reprimanded. Sounds serious. Indeed, to have a visiting student make such a defamatory remarks about our country's most senior police force is not something Her Majesty's government would be able to overlook. You're just letting you know because you're scared. The accusation is beyond serious. You must be prepared for grave consequences. It's true. I can't imagine Gregson would have accepted a gentleman's agreement for something so critical. This must have physically changed hands, which means the inspector should have it. But somehow, something doesn't feel quite right here. Very well, counsel. You know the implications, so let me ask you one final time. Yes, my lord. Do you still persist in formally requesting a search? Search someone else. Search someone else? Yes, the defense formally demands the search be conducted. Well, don't say you weren't warned, but your typical nippity stubbornness may well land you in hot water this time. Perhaps the lesson will do you some good. Fair enough. I've got nothing to hide. Very well then. Bailiff, conduct a search on the inspector's personal effects. The defense demands a search, but not of Inspector Gregson. What? Now what's all this? I'm the one you're accusing, aren't I? I thought you wanted to search me. No, Inspector. Not you. Somebody else. What's the meaning of this, eh? Lost to the last heavy sunshine. Court shouldn't have put up with this nonsense. You're being completely irrational. Shit, who is it though? Be quiet, all of you. Who said that? Oh, Iris. Bruno's doing what you all told him to do and having the courage of his convictions. So you should respect that and listen to what he has to say in good faith. Because that's the British way. Well said, young lady. Indeed, this court is in awe of the defense counsel's conviction and eagerly awaits his next words. You what? Now don't be hasty, my lord. If you're not mistaken about the things I've seen in court today, I'm fairly sure that I know who has that disc at the moment. There's only one person it can be. Counsel, of whom do you request this search now? Is it Graydon, or is it the brothers? Graydon! Mr. Ashley Graydon, my lord. The defense demands that he be searched at once. Very well. I presume you will not protest, Mr. Graydon. Oh god. Au contraire. Why au contraire? And so a brief body search was carried out by the bailiff. Oh, a few short minutes later, it was revealed that Mr. Graydon had nothing unusual in his person at all. Oh god damn. again. Well, counsel. Is it brothers? Oh, my lord, Mr. Nashgalkin. Okay. Hey. Me? Him? Very well then. Bailiff. Restrain the witness and conduct a thorough search of his personal effects. Oh, please, my lord. Inspector? Scott Idiot has to object to the search. Idiot! Unfortunately for you, Inspector, your objections carry no weight here. Hey? In this courtroom, only the prosecution and the defense have the authority to object. But Lord Van Seeks, I have no idea what forces are in play that might influence your actions. But personally, I have no intention of obstructing the course of this trial. Bailiff, carry out the search. Now, hold on a mo. I don't know nothing. Nothing about no disc. Cut it out! They like manhandled him. Ah! Here, my lord. In the witness's pocket. I found this. Oh. Good lord. That's another music box disc. I don't know nothing about it. Nothing. That is the second music box disc left behind by Magnus McGilded. Is it not, Inspector Gregson? Mr. Skalkin, what have you to say for yourself? Gordon Bennett, I mean just Gordon Flaming Bennett. I swear I didn't know nothing about that disc. Honest to God. Counsel, would you please explain what exactly is going on here? The alleged deal that was struck was between this witness and this detective, no? Without question, my lord. Then, for pity's sake, why on earth was this man in possession of the disc that the inspector traded for information? Inspector Gregson is a shrewd, calculating man who rarely loses his composure. But at one particular point in the trial, he exhibited some unusual behavior for a brief moment. I don't recall. What unusual behavior? It was... yes, during my cross-examination of Mr. Graydon. I don't remember, actually. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbroker that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? I admit nothing of the sort. Oh. While Mr. Graydon answered my questions, the inspector appeared to have grabbed Nashgalkin by his coat and was shaking him violently. Oh yeah, he did and all. Thought me noggin was going to fall clean off, I did. I was wishing I'd been born as my brother I was. What exactly happened to make the detective attack you like that? Oh, I ain't got a clue. He just suddenly turned and grabbed me like whistle like that and started shaking me. Why the blaze didn't you mention the gun when we got you down to the station? That's what he said. He yelled it right down my ear hole again. Me, it's still throbbing now. The way the detective behaved then was extremely out of character. But looking back now, it must have been that he did it. It must have been then that he did it. That was the opportunity Inspector Gregson created for himself in order to hide the disc. Well, bless my wig, he hid it. You. But I'm afraid I fail to comprehend the motive here. If the detective had acquired the disc he was after, why on earth would he then proceed to hide it in another man's pocket? This is a court of law. He could have submitted the item as evidence. It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that. Why have it not? As the man himself revealed earlier, his current assignment has some special conditions. My orders were recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT. Strictly hush-hush. Hush-hush. A top-secret assignment, is it? As far as we're aware, the information stolen comes from confidential government communications. It would seem that if that information were revealed in court as evidence, it would be problematic. Does that sum up the situation, Inspector? I'm operating under direct orders from the Ministry. Afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, realizing there was a chance that you may be searched here in court, you took steps to hide the disc you had acquired from the witness. What does this mean? He only pretended to attack Mr. Skulk in order to get close enough to him to slip the second disc into his pocket. So it's all pretense. Well now, Inspector Gregson, and you, Mr. Graydon. Are you prepared to admit to the accusation made against you of this alleged deal? Admit to it? Yours truly? Please. Mr. Graydon! Clearly our Eastern visitor has an uncommonly active imagination. However, there's no proof that I passed that disc to the inspector. But then, how do you explain the reason why you knew about the peephole? I'm under no obligation to explain. What? Yeah, I lied in my testimony. That I admit, so sentence me accordingly. But that is all I admit. Murder? Leaking government secrets? Striking a deal with a detective? All of it is this young Eastern man's fancy. I have no idea what any of that is about. God, I hate people like this, like blatantly lying. I can't wait to break him. Well, what about you then, Inspector Gregson? Do you admit to making a deal with Mr. Graydon in order to acquire the disc? Ladies and gents of the jury, as a Scotland Yard Inspector, I will declare this and nothing more. I am acting in the best interest of the country. Whatever I've done, it's been in the name of justice. So, as members of the public of this fine country, I'd like to think that justice will be your guiding light when you're making your decisions. That is quite a quandary here. How can he sleep in himself? Like, he's letting an innocent person go to jail. Rarely have I encountered such extraordinary tumultuousness in the concluding of a trial. Nevertheless, in the absence of any further evidence to be presented, I believe it is time that we put the matter to the jury for their final leanings. Well now, as a fellow servant of the Queen and country, I must say I sympathize with the old inspector. Yeah, he's a dependable man, I'm quite sure. In service, one becomes a good judge of character. Even crossing your eyes doesn't help when it comes to looking at this case. It's all blurred to me. Well, as a fellow professional, I'd like to put my faith in a detective, really. Graydon is a highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of vital. Stop. Detective has very much trust in eyes. More than this I cannot say. I don't believe it. These 6 jurors are... They're gonna believe Gregson. They declare the decision now. Is Ginny going to be found guilty? If I don't manage to produce some definitive evidence right now, then we're gonna lose. Maybe some proof that Graydon killed Mr. Winnipeg or stole those government secrets. Or some evidence of forced Gregson to admitting that he struck a deal with the witness. Well then, counsel, I think it's time I imposed on the jurors to declare the final decisions, no? That is, unless you have some compelling evidence you have thus far not presented to the court. If I let the judge call on the jurors to announce their leanings, Gino will be found guilty. So there's no choice then, Reno. You have to throw some more evidence at them. Take the bullet. Throw it at them. This is now. It all comes down to this. Who do I present evidence against? Gregson or Graydon? Oh god, who? Okay, you know what? I don't know. But I think I'll leave this episode here. I think we're very, very close to ending. Maybe like 20 more minutes, 30 more minutes. So I think I'll just leave this here. I don't want to make the episodes too long. I think it's like going on for like a little bit over 50 minutes now. So yeah, I think I'll just leave this episode here. In the next episode will be the last one. I don't know who it is. It's either Graydon or Inspector Gregson. I'm not sure. But I'm also not sure what evidence to choose, so I'll figure it out in the next episode. So for now, if you like what you see and you like what you hear, be sure to like, subscribe, and get that bell on to stay up to date on all my latest videos. As always, be safe, take care, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace!